Welcome, dear students. Welcome to the second part of development chapter. As you can see, we have already covered the first part of development. I'm just going for important concepts which I have already covered. Now, on the right side, you can see the question. On the left side, you can see the answers. I will be explaining all these questions and answers. Now, the first is, what would be the development goals or aspirations of the landless rural laborers? Commonly asked a question for 1 mark. Landless laborers wanted more days of work and better wages, even if it's a landless labor or with landed labor. All they want is more days of work and better wages. They wanted that local school should provide quality education for their children. Isn't it right, guys? Because they are not in a situation to send their children to big schools, private schools. So they want the local school to provide quality education to their children. Third one, they wanted to become leaders in the village. They do not want any social discrimination. The third one is the social discrimination, obviously based on caste, that they do not want. These three would be the development goals for landless rural laborers. The second question, prove by giving examples that developmental aspirations are sometimes conflicting with each other. This question can also come as what may be development for one may not be development for another one. Let's see. We have to give two examples here. Industrialists wanted more dams to get more electricity. On the other hand, tribal people do not want more dams which submerge their land and disrupt their life. So, development for industrialists is not development for the village folk. Second example, girl expects as much freedom and opportunity as a brother, but the brother may not like it. A girl wants as much freedom as her brother. It's equality, she can hope so. But it is development for her, but a brother doesn't like it. Her brother doesn't want the girl going around and talking to the boys and mingling with each other, mingling with anybody. So that is for him is not development. So that creates conflicts, right? That creates conflicts. State any two concepts of development goals. Which are the two concepts that we have already learned? First, different persons can have different developmental goals. Developmental goal for a student is different. Developmental goal for a teacher is different. Development goal for a doctor is different. Development goal for a policeman is different. What may be the development for one may not be the development for another one. These two are the concepts which are related to development. I have given you examples also. What are the two types of developmental goals? What are the attributes that we consider when we look at individual aspirations and goals? Now, money and that is material things and non-material things are the two types of developmental goals, the attributes that we do. Money or material things, you see, people wanted regular work, better wages, decent prices for their crops, thus want more income, right? Nothing wrong. Non-material things, people want equal treatment, freedom, security, respect for others too. Now remember, there is a question here which is a very famous question. The question is, money, right, cannot buy everything. That is the question. Money cannot buy everything. Now for this, obviously the answer would be, you would write money can buy you your comfortable things, but money cannot buy equal treatment, freedom, security, respect for others. Now these I consider to be written at last, but the things to be written would be, money cannot buy you a pollution free environment, or money cannot buy you unadulterated medicine. Money cannot buy you love, respect, right? So money cannot buy everything. These are the things money cannot buy. If the question comes on that one, it will come in a form of statement. You have to explain this one. Remember, the answer is this. What is per capita income? Already we have discussed this. I am revising it. It is the average income of a citizen. The PCI, per capita income, is also called as the average income. The PCI is the total income of the country divided by the total population of the country. If you divide the total income by total population of the country, you will get what you call as average income or PCI. Now it's given here, the per capita income of an Indian is rupees 28,000 in 2004. It has improved now. You can find out the number in 2019. We would have got the number in the census, but however, the census did not happen. So you can Google it for this one. How did World Bank classify countries? What criterion did they use? What are its limitations? Obviously, I have discussed this. Still, the World Bank classifies countries into high income countries, medium income countries, and low income countries. High income, medium income, and low income. High income can be called as rich countries. Medium income, developing countries, and low income countries, obviously poor countries. Now in the previous video, I explained you about the dollars, right? But here they have taken money in terms of rupees. So countries with per capita income above rupees 4,000, not 4,000, 4,53,000 is considered to be a rich country. Switzerland, US, Luxembourg. Countries with per capita income between rupees 4,53,000 to 37,000 considered medium income. So anywhere between 37 to 4,53,000 is considered the medium one. The low is below 37. It's below 37,000, considered to be low income country. India is ranking here. We are obviously the medium income country. Our income is not low, neither our income is very high like Switzerland. They used per capita income. Now remember the comparison. When the comparison comes, you have to obviously compare. The World Bank compares with use of per capita income, whereas the UNDP compares the countries used on the Human Development Report. Limitations. Per capita income alone cannot bring development. You cannot say that based on a PCI, country is doing good. We have considered this for the case of Kerala, Haryana and Bihar. No? Even though per capita income of many countries is high, the standard of living of the people remained low. So this is disparities. It hides disparities. It doesn't show all this. This we explained with the use of a column where country A and country B, despite having the same amount of per capita income, the distribution of wealth is not similar or is not uniform, right? Remember that one. If you don't remember, go back to that video. In what respects is the criterion used by the UNDP for measuring development different from the one used by the World Bank? Good question. The previous one I explained, the World Bank uses PCI, whereas the United Nations Development Program used 3 criteria, that is life expectancy for health, literacy rate for education, per capita income for income. Now whereas World Bank used per capita income only. The World Bank considered the economic aspect, average income only, but whereas UNDP considers all the achievements in different aspects such as health, education and income. Now remember, I'll just put it here if it is possible. In the HDR, if you take health, then you have to take life expectancy and IMR, right? If you take education, you will take literacy rate, you will take net attendance ratio, you will take gross enrollment ratio. If you take income, you will take PCI. In health, you can also take BMI also. Now in the exam, you have to mention these things. It's compulsory to mention these things, and you can go for a explanation of any one of the criteria. So remember, these all are considered in calculating the human development report, from which the human development index. What are the three components of human development index, or what are attributes of regional or national development aspirations or goals? Can see here, I already have discussed per capita income, or the average income of a citizen. Per capita income is calculated in dollars for all the countries so that it can be compared. It is also done in a way so that every dollar would buy the same amount of goods and services in any country. Life expectancy at birth denotes the average year of living. Based on the life expectancy, Japan has the highest life expectancy. Infant mortality rate, the number of children dying before the age of 1 for every 1,000 live births in a year. It needs to be low. The IMR needs to be low. The life expectancy at birth needs to be high. The per capita income needs to be at high. The gross enrollment ratio needs to be at high. Net attendance ratio at high. Only the IMR. Do not think that IMR also should be at high. Gross enrollment ratio or literacy rate. Yeah, these also are taken into account when considering the components of human development index. Why has Kerala a low infant mortality rate and a high literacy rate, even though the per capita income is comparatively low? This question is obviously asked a lot of times. Kerala has a low infant mortality rate because it has adequate and basic health educational facilities. It provides hospitals and it provides schools. The schooling system in Kerala is very good. The health facilities in Kerala is very good. If you take the top 10 government hospitals in India, probably 3-4 would be in Kerala, right? Top class hospitals. The people of Kerala, educated, literate, they know that even a girl child has equal treatment as a boy child, so they wouldn't go for an abortion or something like that. That's why the IMR is very low in Kerala. Whereas in Haryana, the IMR is very high because they are not so literate. They think girl is a burden. And now with the times are changing now. Now you know, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme or Sukanya Samruddhi scheme have helped raise awareness against the IMR. Government spends a fair amount of money in the field of health and education. In Kerala, obviously we are talking about it. Public distribution system is also very good. The PDS system in Kerala. So the health and nutritional status of the people is very high. Why the public facilities needed for the development of the country? Explain any four public facilities. It was asked. Now, public facilities are essential for the social and economic development. Economic development and social development are both indicators of country's growth. Such as, you will take examples: education, health. These are required. Other than this, construction of roads, railways, generating electricity, developing ports, these are all the duties of the government. Though these are public facilities, obviously there are private facilities also available, but they are very costly. Providing essential goods at cheap rates for below their cost price so that even poor people can afford. Remember the PDS, where the food prices are given at a lower cost than of the market price. Providing adequate health and education facilities to each and every citizen is a primary duty of any government. It is also your right to claim your health and education facilities by the government. Providing safe drinking water. Along with it, it's your fundamental right to have safe drinking water, housing, and nutritious food to children. That's why the midday meal scheme, MDM, children are being given with midday meal scheme. Children are being given tablets. You also, I remember, had the albendazole, right, for deworming. For development, people look at a mix of goals. Support the statement with suitable examples. Now, this one, there are a lot of goals. For a person, it's not only one goal. He will be having a lot of goals. Let us see how it comes as mix of goals. Two things: mix of goals, conflict of goals. It is true that if women are engaged in paid work, their dignity in the household and society increases. For a woman who is working, she has mix of goals. One, she is earning income, one goal. With earning income, she gets respect in the house. That is also another goal. However, it is also the case that if there is respect for women, there would be more sharing of household work and a greater acceptance of women working outside. So normally what happens if there is a working woman in your home, the work is shared because she will be tired in the evening. So to work, the work will be shared. So normally men take the work of the woman. Safe and secure environment may allow more women to take up a variety of jobs or run a business. Remember, with a single woman showing that a working woman can do get respect, it allows other women to go and work for the job. So it inspires them. Yeah, that is a mix of goals. It's not only the income that she's worried about, it's also the respect she earns. Now, there is another one here. You will see. Let's put an example here. A and B. These are two places, and you are Mr. X. You got a job in A, and you got a job in B. A is 1,000 kilometers away, and B is 100 kilometers away. Right? A, the company says they will give you 1 lakh rupees per month, but this place is too far away, the conditions are harsh. Let's say this is northeast, right? Every day it will be raining, you don't know the weather change. Some day it is snowfall, some day it is rain, some day it is sunlight, and this one is very far to your place, but they will give you only 50,000. Yeah, 50,000 per month, but the conditions are good. Now you being X will think about joining. Will you join only because of money? The money is great, so let's go to a far place. No, you will think even the money is less, let's go to a place which is good, where I can go and come, I can take care of my parents. These all other things that are considered. So it's a mix of goals, remember. So guys, we have come to the end of today's. I hope you have covered the previous video. If you have not covered, you go and watch the previous video. And the second part of development, I'll come back with that tomorrow. Now these questions are really important and frequently asked in the exams. If you have not watched the video, watch it again, and if you want it, you can pause it and write down the notes of this one. So till the next video guys, take care and safe day, stay safe and stay inside.